Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Quality Time. Today I will be showing you how you can use the PDF Actions add-on to validate PDF outputs using TestProject. So the PDF Actions add-on provides some additional functionality which allows users to interact with PDF documents. You can do things like validate text or find words and characters after other text. So the two actions that we're going to be using today are the contains text action and the get words after text action. It's really simple to use, so once you understand how to use one of them, you can pretty much use all of them. So I have already created a project, and inside that project I have a single test. So the first thing I'm going to do is run through that test from start to finish using the recorder mode. That will allow us to add the steps directly to the end of the test. So the application that I'm using to test this is a simple to-do app. It allows the user to log in and then add a to-do, and once they've added to-dos they can download that list to a PDF file, and that's the PDF file that we will be checking. Now that my sign-in page has opened, I'm going to run all of the steps from start to finish. You can see that I'm logging in, creating a to-do, and then I'm clicking on the download to-dos link, which has produced this my to-dos PDF. So the PDF in this instance is super simple. It just provides a list of each to-do that user has created, and it also gives you this heading here, to-do list 4, followed by the username. So we're going to be doing two things. First of all, we're going to retrieve Ryan here. Once we've retrieved it, we can store it in a parameter and then use that parameter to validate the name. Secondly, we're going to use one of the PDF action functions to check that do some shopping appears in this PDF. So let me jump back to my test and we can add a step. So the first step we're going to add is a step to retrieve the username from the heading of the PDF. So it's going to be an action. And I'm going to type PDF in here, and this returns a list of all of the possible actions which are contained in the PDF Actions add-on. So the one we're going to use is get words after text. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is provide a file path to where my PDF is stored. So the PDF gets downloaded into my downloads file, so I'll put the path into that, followed by the name of the file. Okay. So after text relates to the string we're looking to find. So if I jump back to my PDF, so what we want to do is find the username. So if I take the string here, I'm basically saying find me the next word after this phrase. So I'll paste that in here. Okay, start index and end index. It's worth noting that the index value starts from the first value of the text in here. So for example, index 0 relates to to-do, index 1 would relate to list, and index 2 would actually relate to 4. So we want to find the first word after this, and that's actually index 3. So I'll add that in our start index and end index fields. You can add a page number, but we're only using a single page PDF, so we don't need to worry about that. We can leave it blank. But we are going to add an output parameter. So this is where the value, the username that we find, will be stored in. Once it's stored, we can use it. So I will call it PDF username, and I can leave the value blank because that will get populated by our test. So add that, and I can go ahead and create that. So this step's now running. It's going to read the PDF, and you can see that it's come back with a green line, and that green line indicates that that step's passed. So if I click on here, you can see the details which we input when creating the step, the indexes and the phrase we're looking for, and down here we can see the output. So the output text that is found is Ryan, and it's stored that in the PDF username parameter, which is exactly what we were hoping for. So now that we have that value stored, we can actually use it either somewhere else in our test, or we can perform some validation on it. So for example, I could add another step, add an action, and this time use compare two strings, and then I can provide two string values here. So our first one could be our PDF username that we've just created, and our second string could be the username parameter that I've already created and are using earlier on in my test. So that, and create this step. Again, that step's running, and it's come back as a pass. So again, if I go into the details here, you can see that it's comparing the value in the PDF username field to the value in the username field, both of which are Ryan. So that has passed. It's worth noting that this compare functionality is part of the string utils add-on. So if you want to use that, you'll need to install the string utils add-on as well. Okay, great. So we've managed to retrieve the username value here, and we've added a step to validate that that username is as expected. The next step is to check that the do some shopping to do is actually in the PDF. So what I'll do is I'll jump back to my test and add a new step. Again, it'll be an action, and if I type PDF in here, I'm going to use the contains text function. So if I add that, so again I need to provide the path to that file in my downloads. So that's my to-dos.pdf, and I need to provide the text I want to match. So in this instance, the text is do some shopping. Once again, I don't need to provide a page number, so I'll just create that step. You can see that that step's currently running, and it's come back as passed. So if I go into the details of that, you can see that the message returned is PDF contains text, and this was the text it was looking for, do some shopping, which is great. If I was to look for some text which didn't exist, maybe tidy room, and save that, I can rerun that step, and you'll see that once the step runs, it comes back as failed. It says PDF does not contain text. So we'll just go back and make it pass again. Save that. Rerun it again, and we should see that hopefully this passes as it did before. Excellent. So now that we've been able to validate a couple of those pieces of information from the PDF, there are a few things we could do to our test to make it a bit more usable. So one of the things I want to add to my test is a step to delete this to-do after we've validated. Secondly, I'm going to add a step to delete my to-dos PDF from the downloads folder, and that means that when I rerun the test, it's going to create the My To Do's PDF with the same file name in the same location each time without any issues writing. So let's do that now. First of all, let's add a step to delete this to do, which is really simple. I'm still recording my steps, so if I just delete it from there, the step's created here. Perfect. So secondly, let's add a step to delete that PDF. So I'll add a new step. It's an action, and I will type delete, and I'm going to use this delete file action, which is part of the generic extensions add-on. So all I need to provide here is the path and the file name. So you might notice that I've had to copy the file name into several fields here. So to make that a bit better, I'm going to add that path to a parameter. So let's create a new parameter. Let's just call it path for now, and let's add the value of my downloads folder path and the file name. Let's add that there. Create that step. So that step's running, and it's actually deleted that file from my downloads folder. So if I come over here, downloads, there's now no file in there. So now I've created that parameter, I'm actually going to go back and use that in a couple of my other steps. So in this step where we're checking the text, instead of hard coding the path here, I will add path as a parameter, and the same with my step to get the username. Okay, so I'm using the path in all three places now, which means if that path did change, that I just needed to change it in one place now. The other thing I'm going to parameterize is the text that I'm matching for the to-do. So you can see here that I'm actually matching do some shopping. But if I wanted to add a different to-do earlier on in the test, this step would then fail because it's always looking for do some shopping. So I already have a to-do called, I already have a parameter called to-do, so I can use that instead of hard coding this text. So what this means now is that every time I change the value of the to-do that I add here, I'm going to check that same value in this step here. Okay, great. So I've updated my test, so let's run it and see if it still passes. So this time I'm not going to run it in the recorder, I'm actually going to run it as a test. So I'm back in my project now, and I'm just going to play that test now, and I'm going to run it on Chrome. So you can see that the parameters that I have currently set are the path, the to-do, and the username. I'm not going to change any of those, I'm just going to hit run. So the application is now loading, entering the username, the to-do, it's downloaded the to-dos, and now it's doing the checks on that to-do. And once it's finished doing those checks, it's going to delete the My To-Dos PDF from the download folder, and it's going to finish, which it has done. Perfect. So let's jump to reports. Have a look at the test we've just run a few seconds ago, and you can see that all the steps have passed, which is great. If I go back to my downloads folder, there's nothing in there. Perfect. So that's how you can use the PDF Actions add-on to validate text within a PDF and read text out of a PDF. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, then please get in touch.